Alright. Hey guys, what's up? I'm not gonna waste too much time. You already know what's happening. You already know what this episode's about. So let's get into it. So the way I'm gonna start this off, we follow back where the last what if ended on, where they find Sero's dead body. Of course, they pick him up and have to carry him and take him back to Aizawa. Aizawa is able to see the outline of the two and Bakugo holding something. Aizawa immediately rushes over thinking that Sero got injured or something, and then, 13 already starts calling on to, calling on to Recovery Girl. Once, Shota gets there and he sees what's happened, he backs up a little bit. He's like, wait, what happened to him? Well, what happened? Who did this? Where did this happen at? What's going on? And Bakugo explains that Sero was killed by a monster, a villain even, that broke in something. He doesn't even completely know himself. But what he does know is that there's something with this villain specifically. And as I was a bit confused by this, he's like, what do you mean? And then Todoroki butts in, he's like, Bakugo somehow knows this guy. And then immediately Aizawa's head snaps towards Bakugo. He's like, what do you know? Like, who did this? Why are they doing this? And of course, Bakugo, he's like, I need time to think. I don't remember, honestly. I think I may know who it is, but I don't wanna believe that it's this person. And of course, Aizawa's like, listen, a student has just died. We need to know who the hell did this. So of course, after they tell 13 what's going on, and the authorities are called, and the police come by to get reports from everyone, and especially Bakugo and Todoroki. Todoroki and Bakugo explained them that they were going into the building, and they looked for Sero. They found him, but it was just his dead body. And then they ran into this villain whose body looked mechanical, but not like high tech, just like one of those old pizzeria robots. And of course, the police, they're like, are you sure about this? And Bakugo and Todoroki, they both confirm, yes, we're positive about this. We saw the exact same thing. A bunny sort of animatronic that had glowing yellowish eyes. It was weird. Of course, Bakugo explains that, well, a few years ago, him and his friend, that's what he's gonna say, went to this old abandoned pizzeria, and he dared his friend to stay the night over, and his friend did it. And then the next day that he went, his friend wasn't there. And that's a story that Bakugo wants to go with. Just, because it looked really bad for him and his status of being hero if he told them that he stuffed him into that animatronic suit and then watched him die. Not on purpose, of course, but still. So, he'd probably get charged with something like manslaughter. And of course, he gets scolded for this alone because, well, that's a dumb idea to hide in an abandoned building for that long. So of course, they're trying to think about motives, and maybe he wants to get back at Bakugo, and they're thinking about giving him like extra protection just because they don't know what's going on. And while this is happening, of course, there's a bunch of news swarming the school, asking them if they can really keep the students safe. Nezu's trying to assure them that they can, but he's not sure. He doesn't know much about the situation, so he can't even predict what his opponents are going to try to do. So now we follow probably, I'll say, they can't go back after 2 weeks, especially since the student died. So they're gonna go back within the span of a month. Of course, they're gonna have these sort of therapy sessions because a lot of people were friends with Sero, just because, Sero was their classmate. So it's gonna be hard for them to understand what has happened to Sero and just completely understand why specifically Sero went through this and to sort of move past it for their own betterment. So after this, classes start, they get back into what they're supposed to do. Aizawa explains that the sports festival will be canceled this year due to the student's death, and that it would look very bad on their reputation if they just went to the sports festival without even really training their class. So of course, Aizawa starts on their training. He also starts on teaching them more about hero work and sort of using what happened to Sero as a sort of life tool to teach them that life isn't always fair and that they lose people that they care about all the time. And of course, a lot of students, they take this to heart, which is good. But, a lot of students don't feel that it's fair to Sero that he just died like that. So now we're gonna move from the hero's perspective because there's been a distinct lack of, villains. So, in the League of Villains hideout, Shigaraki's scratching his neck. He's like, what the hell's going on? Someone's taking the limelight. Someone's taking the spotlight when we're supposed to be there. Of course, this is also slightly annoying, all for one, but he's sort of trying to think who could do this, who could, get into Yude and kill a student, and it can't be a large group of people, because that would have been too easy to catch, so it has to be one person. While they're bickering, a man walks in, not a man walks in, let me correct that. I'll say, Kurogiri, he walks in. He goes over, he tells Shigaraki and his master, all for one, that he found a note outside the door. And, Shigaraki, he's a bit confused. He's like, okay, what's so special about it? And Kurogiri says, well, it's for who it's a message to. It's sent to All for One from Springtrap. And, Shigaraki's confused. He's never heard of All for One, and so is All for One. He's never heard of Springtrap. Or not, he's never heard of All for One. He's never heard of Springtrap, so he was confused. Of course, after this, All for One, he tells him to read the note out loud so that he can hear it, and then he can decide what to do about this. So immediately Kurogiri starts. He tells him that, my name is Springtrap. You don't know me, but I know you. Well, and of course I'm reading it. You don't know me, but I know you. I know you want to find a way to get UA. You want to kill All Might. And I can help you with that. I can give you the information you need. But in exchange, you give me what I need. And of course, All for One, he's a bit confused by this. Well, All for One tells Shigaraki, Kurogiri tells first that he wants to meet in this certain spot. All for One, of course, tells Shigaraki that he should go meet this guy. And, Shigaraki, he's like, alright, fine. He doesn't like the guy, but he can already tell that this guy's gonna be useful. So, of course, he's like, alright, fine, I'll go. And, we'll just time skip to their meet date. So, Shigaraki, he's walking towards this abandoned pizzeria. Of course, it's Five Nights at Freddy's, or not Five Nights at Freddy's, but it's, Freddy Fazbear's Pizza. Of course, he walks into Freddy Fazbear's Pizza and, he looks around. The place looks like, well, it's a bit of a dump, but it still looks better than what you would expect for, some place that's been abandoned as long as it has. Of course, Shigaraki starts looking around trying to find, the person who he's supposed to be making this deal with. And then, right then, he sees that the animatronics are in their pedestal areas standing up instead of being in the closet areas, which is a bit confusing because he could have sworn that he remembered as a kid he was watching through the window because, that was back before All For One picked him up, and that he saw that they were putting those things away for good. And there we go. Alright. He sees that they're just operational too, and they're doing their normal thing. And just then he has this weird feeling that something's behind him. He snaps his head around, he looks, and he sees this tall, menacing figure right behind him, looking at him. And he stumbles back a bit. He's surprised by this, and he's like, "Who the hell are you?" Because it's a big ass. Well, he wouldn't say, "Who the hell are you?" He'd turn around and say, "What the hell?" He'd try backing up, but this thing, it would only go closer to him. As Shigaraki's wondering, like, why is this thing following me? And he's also like, is it alive? What the hell? Just then the menacing figure speaks.
"Hello there. My name is Springtrap. I guess you've come here to meet me. I was hoping that I'd get to know the boss, but I guess you'll work too."
Shigaraki, he's a bit surprised by this because he didn't expect that the person contacting him would be an animatronic. So of course he immediately, he's like, "So you're the guy. You've got information on the UA and how to get to All Might."
"Yeah, I've got it. I know all about him. And I can tell you even more."
Of course, Shigaraki's very intrigued by this. So he agrees. He tells him that his side will help out Springtrap if Springtrap will help out his side, of course. Which, as he's saying this, Deku, well, not Deku, but Springtrap, he's nodding his head, he's agreeing to all this, just because it's all aligning to what he wants. And of course, I don't think I really have to explain what he wants, but if you don't know, you'll find out soon. So, now that they've made their deal, the next thing to do is decide when they're going to attack. Deku does tell Shigaraki about not the sports festival, the summer training that they have planned. That's the next outing they have where no heroes will be around. That's when he'd recommend to make it hurt for All Might in order to, well, kind of show them that this League of Villains is serious about what they're doing. Maybe get rid of a few future heroes in the making. Shigaraki, he smiles deviously. He knows that this is gonna hurt All Might, and it just makes him smile more. And, he'd shake Springtrap's hand, but he's not really sure about him yet. So, he tells him, "You've got a deal. I'll see you later." of course, Springtrap guides him out. And, he tells him, of course, to never come here unless, firmly invited. And, what if, and Shigaraki is like, well, what if I need you for something? Springtrap just tells him, I'll find you. I could say that in the voice changer, but I will just change it. So now we'll go to Bakugo's perspective, because why not? That'll work. Of course, Bakugo, he's sitting in his room. He's holding his head a bit. He's wondering, what the hell? How the hell did this happen? Why? Oh my god. Oh shit. And Bakugo, he hears something, and he's a bit confused. He goes out and he starts looking around his house, because he did hear a noise. He knows he did, but he's not sure what is it. So he goes, he walks, and in the kitchen, he sees a Freddy animatronic. He's a bit confused because he thought that Deku was the weird bunny one. He gets ready to just explode it just in case. And then, it turns on and it starts playing that familiar tune. I think you all know the tune. And, Bakugo, he's so confused. He's like, what the hell? And, he backs away a bit. And then he bumps into something. He turns around, and there's a Foxy animatronic right there, right in his face. He stumbles back, falling down just on his ass, and he's just like, what the hell? What's going on? And then, of course, he hears that familiar voice. And then he just hears,
Katsuki, don't tell me you don't recognize our two friends. Come on, look. We've been waiting for a reunion for so long.
Bakugo, he snaps his head towards whatever that thing was that said that, and he sees Springtrap. And he backs away. He keeps trying to move away. He's like, what happened? Deku, is that you? And then the figure just approaches closer and closer, and he just tells him,
oh, so you remember me. You remember the one you killed. Aren't you just best hero?
Bakugo, he's trying to speak. He's telling Deku, I'm sorry. I didn't mean to do it. I didn't think you'd die. I just wanted to play a little prank. I know I was a bad friend. I know. And then he gets interrupted.
You were not my friend. You never were. You were someone who oppressed me. Someone who bullied me, belittled me at every turn. And now you're scared. Now you're scared because the consequences have come back to bite you.
As he says this, he taps two familiar buttons to us, and on his jaw, as his jaw unhinges, and then he looms closer to Bakugo. He looms closer and closer, and then right as Bakugo is screaming, pleading for Deku to stay away from him, and then there was silence. The house went silent. No one, not a word was spoken. And then just then, Bakugo wakes up. He's sweating. It's the middle of the night. He's horrified. His head snapping where he's looking. Oh god. Oh god. Bakugo just curls up into a ball. He holds himself tight. And he just whimpers. He just cries. Please, no. I'm sorry. I'm so sorry. And that's where I'm gonna leave it all for today. Hope you guys have enjoyed, and I will see you all later.